Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men, women, everybody alike, it is Wednesday, the 27th of January. This is members only, free to the public today. So this is VIP information, free to the public. Hope you guys like it. A couple of exciting announcements to get into before we start going through the plays. One, if you didn't get the email, I did a poor job of tracking lifetime customers from like 5 years ago when you guys signed up. We are onboarding lifetime customers onto the new Discord channel today. Please reach out to me individually. I can get you the link to sign up. I remember a lot of your own names. Otherwise, I should be able to find it. So lifetime customers, if you weren't included on the email, that's on me. But reach out specifically so that we can get you up on board to the Discord channel. If you want to be, you don't have to be. All the information is still up to the website. But the Discord channel is going to be for late editions and just overall, discourse.
I'd view it kind of like the Facebook. Like, you don't have to be, but there's absolutely no reason not to be, even if you don't want to be active on it. I mean, I'm in a bunch of Discords that I never, ever talk in, but I can at least read the stuff. So I suggest that everyone join it. But like you said, we're never going to make anyone join it. So
that's up to y'all.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it.
Second, I want to do a quick shout out to Ben Keeling. Big time GPP takedown last night. Congratulations. Jealous over here. That's a nice win, my man. You've been with me for a long time and then with us for a long time since then. So definitely one of the longer term customers. That's a nice W. Congratulations to Daniel Allen the night before. That's back-to-back days with customer GPP takedowns. Love that. So a lot of exciting stuff over here. Hopefully you guys had a good night. If you didn't, that is the joy of DFS. There's a new slate. As you can see, here's Daniel from the night before. He had said he had been a while since he took one down, and then Ben last night with the $100 single entry takedown.
Yeah, really, really nice lineup. Again, we talk about it all the time. Didn't really get different in too many spots, but really happy to see the 5-pack logo on top of that $100 single entry. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, congratulations, buds. So we are here today. We got ourselves a monster slate tonight, and spending some time looking through it this morning. There's a lot of good plays, and we've said it before. We'll say it again. You can't play everybody. There are going to be good players you are not going to be able to roster tonight. So it's the best day to choose your favorite and to get after it. Just like at the top of the page right here. Like, I could see Joel Embiid having a good night tonight. No way he's going to make my final roster, though.
Agreed. I mean, this is like, I feel like Embiid, I don't even know like his history against Anthony Davis, but I mean, I feel like we look at that similarly. I have interest in Embiid in matchups like that, but unlikely I get there as well.
I could definitely see like the LeBron Embiid combination being solid tonight in a bigger game, but I'm going to play for the upside in some of these other spots. So it's just not going to be a priority. We got 12 games on the docket tonight, at least as of now. COVID might knock us down to 11 or 10 because, such is life. But even that at that point, still a monster slate.
For sure. And that's like, I feel like unlikely at this point. I mean, could happen. It's not as unlikely as it was in past years, but we haven't seen too many cancellations like the day of recently.
Yeah, we get them sporadically, but again, I'm not banking on it. So let's just start with this one. We got Indiana taking on Charlotte tonight. Again, guys, it's the same thing that I'll say in a bunch of these games. There are Charlotte guys that could do well tonight. LaMelo Ball's definitely taken a step back lately, but I know he's very capable of GPP upside on this price. It's not where I'm going to go, but I know it's capable. The same would go with Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier. I do have some interest in the Pacers side of things, specifically if we find out Sabonis is up.
Yeah, a lot of interest in the Indiana side if we find out Sabonis is out. So you talk massive slate, a lot of good spots. What you're really looking for are good spots with potential guys from that team out. You got that right here. We saw how well Brogdon and Miles Turner played when Sabonis missed last game, or not when he missed, when he got hurt mid-game. I think you got to go right back. You got to at least take a hard look at Brogdon here if he's out.
Yeah, so Brogdon becomes then, literally the centralized piece of this offense. TJ Warren's been out for a hot minute. He's not coming back tonight. Sabonis appears to be firmly questionable. And if he's out tonight, Brogdon just becomes monster usage rate. He has to take a little bit of a bigger role in the scoring. Not that he doesn't already average 23 points a game, but you saw him play really well in the second half the other day against Toronto. I consider Charlotte, from a defensive perspective, on the same level as the way Toronto has played this year. So Brogdon becomes a very much shortlisted player. The only problem is like, even if you see today's cover board, there's a lot of point guards that are going to be in play. And the worst thing that happened to me or the other day was we did our members only video and it never populated on Skype. And we had talked about taking a look at Jeremy Lamb, but because that never got brought up and we didn't really get into a lot of detail on him, nobody really got that one. And he had a great day. If Sabonis is out tonight, I think Jeremy Lamb is definitely in play, as they don't have a lot of offensive firearm power on this team without him.
I mean, 100%. He played 33 minutes last time out. I don't even hate him if Sabonis is in. Probably wouldn't get there on this big of a slate, but with the way he's playing right now, or not, didn't mean to say that, with him playing 33 minutes last game, I mean, like you just mentioned, no TJ Warren. They need offense, so I'm with it. Don't forget they traded Oladipo, got Karis LeVert, who's not playing for them this year. So, if they're out Sabonis, they're missing most of their offense from this season so far.
Yeah, and I think Miles Turner would be in play. I don't think he would be my choice center, but he would definitely be quote unquote in play with Sabonis out.
I agree. I like Eaton slightly more, but I don't think it's like I said, I like him slightly more. Not sure how you feel about it.
Yeah, I like Vooch and Ayton, which just at that point, it's hard to get to the center position. So
for sure.
It's not that Turner's a bad play, but the same thing like with Joel Embiid. I like him. It's just I can only play two centers maximum, and they're not going to be my top two priorities. So this game with Sabonis in, I probably don't play anybody from the first game. With Sabonis out, Brogdon and Jeremy Lamb are very much shortlisted. And then there's a couple guys like Dougie Buckets and Miles Turner that I think are in play, just not guys I would play.
I would play Turner over Sabonis or over McDermott, but I get it. McDermott's in good for you, and filler pieces if Sabonis is out.
He's just I'd rather play Jeremy Lamb at the same price.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to go over the top aggressive on the Indiana guys.
I'll tell you who's there aren't many slate who's a stone cold lock for me on this slate. Can you guess who it is?
Colin Sexton.
Nope.
Is it from this game?
It is.
Jeremy Grant.
Yeah. Mentioned it last video we made. I think this guy should be like 9K-ish. He still didn't even hit his upside last game. He got into a little bit of foul trouble. He's walking into DFS points. He only shot 13 times. Even lost run because it got blowout-y. Man, I'm all about it here against the Cleveland team that I think he can really do a lot of damage to.
So let's break down before last game. Again, he missed about a total of 4 minutes-ish. He usually plays about 35, 36. But because of a little bit of foul trouble and just the game getting a little bit blowout at the end, and I think the Detroit starters missed the last minute or two, if my memory serves me correctly. So he lost a couple minutes. Not a lot, but a little bit. So he might have gotten to 50. That's plenty of upside. The 2 games previous to that against Philadelphia and Houston, he had his 2 worst shooting nights of the season. Bring up whatever reason it is, who knows? But he just didn't shoot the ball well. Outside of that, he has been religiously over 40. His bad games still get him up into the 30s, which means you can still be competitive if he tanks. Like his version of tanking is not bad.
No, and again, I think he's got a higher upside even than he's shown recently. So I love him here. I normally like the mid-tier a lot. I think he gets in this spot 40 on a bad day, 55 on a good day.
Yeah, I like a guy who can shoot 3 of 15 and still 4x or better because of his participation on this team. Detroit's also without Blake Griffin tonight, so the other guy that can take a little bit of the usage away from him when he's playing well is Blake Griffin. He's not a thing tonight. He's resting on the first half of a back-to-back. It looks like Derrick Rose is all good to go tonight, so I'm guessing they're going to do what I think is a smarter move if they're trying to win basketball games, which is to separate the sittings of Rose and Griffin on back-to-backs. Sometimes they've done them both at the same time. That eats into DeLon Wright a little bit, so I think from the Detroit perspective, it's really Jeremy Grant or nothing for me.
I agree. DeLon Wright 1,000 more with Rose back, so yeah, it's Grant from the Detroit side for sure for me.
And Wright was great last game, but he definitely shot the 3 ball at a significantly higher rate and amount than normal because he was feeling it. His assist total was one of his higher ones of the season. He rebounded at a high rate. I don't think he scored 28 points in another game all season. So he was awesome, but I'm not trying to game log chase this one, especially with Rose back.
For sure.
I do have some passing interest in Darius Garland and Colin Sexton. This is a nice spot against a Detroit team that we know isn't very good. Sexton, Why did he only play 16 minutes against Boston? Was it just strictly because of the blowout, or did he lose anything else because of that?
No, they got blown out and they just didn't play well. So that's
Okay.
all.
Just sat him the rest of the game, knowing that they played again tomorrow. Garland is back, which can eat into him a little bit, but he's really cheap today.
Yeah, you made a point yesterday about, can't remember. I think it was actually 2 days ago. Dejounte Murray algorithm got messed up a little bit because he only played like that 1 minute. I'm wondering if the Cleveland guys are cheap because of that here, because Sexton's really cheap for his standards. Drummond's really cheap for his standards. So I don't know, just a theory.
Yeah, I don't think Sexton is like a stone cold lock with Garland back, because Garland played really well to start the year. And if you look through Sexton's like just game log of who he is a more of a mid-30s type of guy. He had that great game against Brooklyn and another really good game against Brooklyn. Well, Brooklyn's defense is not good. They're going to improve as the season gets better, but they're never going to be a good defense. So I like them. I don't. Garland is now, I believe, his fourth game back after an extended absence. 22, 23, 26 minutes. This is a guy that was averaging 35 points a game to start the season. Now he's 4,600. He could easily play 30 minutes tonight. I think he has GPP sleeper or even cash game play written all over him.
I agree. I mean, on a normal slate that wasn't like one of these monsters, I'd be playing a lot of Garland. Like last night, I like him way more than all the other guys that were on the slate last night.
This is a guy that was over 6K just a couple days ago. And then he lost a lot of time. 22, 23, 26 minutes. They've gotten him ratcheted up. He shot the ball terrible his first 2 games, which is not unusual for a guy that missed 3 weeks. He went 5 of 22. That's bad. Everybody knows that's bad. But he went 5 of 10 against the Lakers. Didn't get a lot of counting stats. Had a day off to recoup and lick his wounds and get ready to roll in this one. I think he offers tremendous potential value right here.
I agree.
So this is what we talked about with the slate being loaded with guys. Like, we've already gone through 2 games, and if Sabonis is out, I got Garland and Brogdon, and I still have more point kinds that I'm interested in. You're not going to be able to play everybody.
Oh, and I also like Sexton, like we just talked about.
At least he's a shooting guard eligible, right?
Yeah, true. And I'll say this about even Brogdon with Sabonis out, like, he's close to a must, very close. But like on a lot of slates, I think that it would be like you have to lock him in 100%. On this slate, there are so many good plays. I don't feel that way about almost any player. Do you agree?
Yeah. I want to shout out my boy Wayne Ellington again, just because he's playing really, really well, but he's got a major price raise up to 5K. I can't go back here. I've played him a lot lately because he's just been on fire, and I've been watching the Pistons play a lot, partly because I've rostered enough Jeremy Grant over the last 2 weeks to be a little bit interested in him as a team. But I can't get here knowing, one, that the bad shooting game is like right around the corner. It's going to happen one of these days. But now that he's 5K, I have to jump off the Wayne Ellington train for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. He has been playing really well, shooting the lights out. Good win for them against Philly. Yeah, I was impressed by that win.
So I think Drummond is in play. I will say, though, I think the risk on him with other guys like Vucevic and Ayton and stuff like that, I don't think I can end up here. I like the price tag, but the problem with Drummond is now that they have Jared Allen, and especially if Larry Nance plays, like, they got a lot of options right there. And I just don't know if I can prioritize him, knowing like what the downside can be on him because of a Jared Allen. And I don't know. Like, I can see why anybody would play him. I just don't know if I can prioritize him today.
I mean, I get that, especially, first off, he's in a crush shot against the Detroit team. We've really liked picking on with centers, athletic
That's
centers.
a good point.
On that same token, though, like, you're right, man. Like, he's definitely not a lock because it's a massive slate. There's other good centers. He's in play for sure. And I'm torn here because, like, the upside's real at this price tag.
Real.
The downside, like, yeah, we know Drummond. He could easily have 60 if he plays enough minutes, but he hasn't been playing massive minutes. So I don't know. I'm not sure I'm going to get here. If I were making one line, it'd be real tough to get here.
Yeah, and I think this is the point that I addressed yesterday is, like, if he was 8,800 like he was last slate, would you be dying to play him? Just because he's $400 cheaper, that's like, we're not talking about a huge difference in DK points. What I'm worried about is just real simple, that they decide that today's a Jared Allen day. Like, with Jared Allen on this team now, he has not played more than 28 minutes in the game. And he has eaten for that time period twice. Absolutely smashed. But it is not a guarantee you always smash when you're playing less than 30 minutes.
Definitely not. Definitely more encouraged if Nance is out. I do see his like projections booming, so that's something to worth note. I will say, like, I have sleeper interest in this game, but the total's so low. So not that like I want to stack it, but I do like Grant a lot. And then we talked about the Cleveland pieces that are in play. At the end of the day, though, I might only have Jeremy Grant from this game.
Yeah, and even he's not a lock because it's 11 games or 12 games, and you can't play everybody. I like Jeremy Grant, but at the end of the day, I may not get there on roster construction. Depends on what news comes out the rest of the day.
Right. I mean, he won't fit like a stars and scrub build, which we could easily have here.
All right, next game up, Sacramento against Orlando. As far as the Sacramento guys go, I don't see this as a situation where you have to run it back. I got a few Orlando guys I have some interest in, but I don't feel the need to run it back with Sacramento guys.
The one Sacramento guy I like is Bagley.
Yeah, you always like Bagley, so that's not a surprise.
He's playing big minutes now. I mean, he's still very affordable. Like, assuming he's going to play like bigger minutes. I mean, listen, he hasn't played great the past 2 games, but we know who Bagley is. He's better than that, and I don't mind taking a shot at him at all here.
All right, so there's a variety of Orlando guys that I am interested in, and it's going to start with Cole Anthony, which, again, far from a must. I wish he had more than just point guard eligibility. Going back to that Minnesota game when he hit one of the best shots of the year, he's played a lot better. I think, though, the most likely scenario is right here that he's just going to end up on my honorable mention list, and I'm not actually going to get to him in any of my lineups.
I agree with that 100%.
So Kings are a really good spot to take guys against. He's playing well. His confidence is growing, but he's a point guard, and point guard is going to be at a premium today. Next up is your all-time favorite player, Aaron Gordon. He's been playing well recently. This is exactly the kind of matchup that he should be able to expose. He's been playing some off-brand point guard. Look at those assist totals. I think that's really gotten him engaged on his rebounding as well. Again, I think there's a good chance he ends up in my honorable mention list. But when you want to compare him to a Jeremy Grant at the small forward position at a very similar price, he may own slightly higher upside.
Agreed. I don't feel as safe with it, but I could easily see myself playing both if I went with like a mid-tier build. He's my favorite play from Orlando. I like Vooch, but the center position, he's more expensive. Gordon's my favorite play from Orlando. Talk about Vooch for a second.
Yeah, the nice part about Vucevic is just simple. It's so replicable day in and day out. Like, we saw him on the day against Minnesota when he was just overwhelming chalk. He shot 11 of 27. I honestly think he went almost 2.5 quarters without making a field goal. He got a little hot at the end. His rebounding numbers were down, but he got a couple blocks and steals. He meandered into 51 points. That was a really good spot. This is another crush spot right here. We've seen him play well against bad teams. He's a little bit pricier than you would prefer, but God bless a guy who hasn't dropped below 45 points with the exception of one time when they got their butts absolutely handed to them by Boston in recent memory. I love high floor plays, and Vucevic is that high floor play. This is a day for upside as well. I know he disappointed a little bit in that game against Minnesota, but on a normal day, I mean, this is a guy who shoots like 50% for his career, who's been off shooting a little bit lately. This is a crush spot. He did not play yesterday, and I'm 99% sure he does not play tomorrow, so it's an island game. I mean, he's got a lot working for him right here. I wish he was $300 cheaper, but you got to love a guy who plays big minutes and has a high floor every single day.
Yeah, I'm with you now. I agree, man. He's probably too rich for my blood on this slate. I look at the other centers we've talked about. I mean, just Drummond, and then we've mentioned Ayton in passing. The more I look at this slate, I feel like Ayton is like one of my only locks. He's just way too cheap, and I like him more than the other centers. We'll get there. I completely get why you like Vooch. He's not a priority for me.
Vooch is typically one of your elite cash game plays within the DFS role because of his replicability, but he's not a guy that gets you 70 and 80 almost ever. So if you're looking for supreme upside, this is a good spot for upside, but he's not a guy who's going to 8X for you almost ever.
Agreed.
All right, so this next game, I think, is one where you should tell yourself a story. And what I mean by that is, how competitive do you think it is? If you think this is a really, really competitive game, there is monster potential in this one. Yes, Atlanta played last night. I'm not overly turned off by that. I don't prefer it, but I'm not overly turned off by it. If you think this game is high-paced and competitive, there's a lot of upside here. However, the flip side of that from a 30,000-foot view, as much as you like it, Brooklyn is a hard team to pull pieces from because you never know if it's a Kyrie day, Harden day, or a Kevin Durant day, or all of them.
I completely agree. It is. I think this game, like you mentioned, you got to tell yourself a story. The problem is if you tell yourself a story that this game is close and like really competitive and high scoring, which I think is the most likely outcome, I still don't think that makes it a great DFS game because of the prices and because first off, Brooklyn has the three guys that they haven't really like gelled yet. We don't know what to expect from them. They're all really expensive. The Atlanta side's much more appealing, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I hard recommend on Trae Young last night at the point guard position. He looks scary for a little bit with the slow first quarter, but that gets right back into the mantra of a lot of first quarters have been slow throughout the NBA this year. Played really, really well down the stretch. Didn't seem to be hampered by the back in the slightest. He did turn his ankle at the end of the game, though, so that is something to look for today.
Yeah, and also he played last night. A lot of guys didn't. I mean, I understand why anyone would go to this game. There's other spots I like more personally.
From a 30,000-foot view, this might be one of the better spots in basketball. But from an individual player standpoint, I don't love it. But I do want to mention Clint Capela. Basically the same price as Nikola Vucevic. His rebounding numbers at this point are absolutely insane. He's finding a way to get there in a variety of ways. Look at what he did against Minnesota in a game where they rolled and he played 30 minutes. You don't expect him to have 10 blocks every single day, but he's very capable of getting a lot of blocks again right here. I love the fact that he's basically 100% avoiding getting into foul trouble as well. So you no longer have that. He's been playing big minutes. They played him 39 minutes in a couple of those games. And what we've noted about the Brooklyn Nets right here is simply the fact that DeAndre Jordan is a shell of what he once was, and they can absolutely be gotten close to the basket. So I don't think Capela is going to be big-time owned today. What do you think?
I definitely don't think, and I like his upside higher than Vooch's. I mean, why do you, and this is, I'm not saying like, why do you like Vooch over Capela? Why do you like Vooch over Capela?
Didn't play yesterday. Island game. Sacramento's an absolute kill spot. I like them both. I really, really do. I do think Capela's got a bad game coming for everybody soon at this price tag, but based on having watched a lot of Atlanta lately, he is really vibing with Trae Young on the pick and roll right now. I know he's only scored 13 points in the last two games, but those 20-point games are going to come more frequently this year. And again, he lost run in the Minnesota game because they absolutely blew them out. If he's really low owned tonight, which I think is possible, I love this play in GPPs.
So do I. I think he's real low owned, for sure. I mean, I definitely think he's real low owned.
He's now shot double-digit times 5 games in a row. That wasn't allowed for him in Houston because James Harden would throw a hissy fit if he didn't get to shoot every shot.
Right now, his ownership projection is coming in at 0.9%. I would say that's low owned.
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll be higher than that, but I don't think it's going to be high. It'll be single digits.
Definitely single digits.
I know a guy that you liked a lot going into yesterday who, you don't look at 36 and 6,200 and think this is like a monster score, but it was a really good score for yesterday. In fact, I want to go over to Ben, who took down the single entry. He had Hunter right there at the forward position. It's all relative. 297 won the single entry last night. Probably won't happen tonight, but he also played very well and aggressive throughout this game. It was a little lower scoring than you might have anticipated in a higher scoring game. I think he's another guy you could get at lower ownership in this game.
Well, the thing that you mentioned that really piques my interest is Trae Young turned his ankle.
Yeah. He played through it, although you never know if it got a little more tender. So just, keep your eyes peeled. Not that you're not already doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Got a couple potential paydown guys and like a Jeff Green and stuff like that, but we'll have better paydown spots in my opinion.
No doubt.
All right. Denver versus Miami. Miami might get Hero back tonight, might not. I don't know. This is not a game that I have a lot of interest in.
The one guy I have interest in is Jokic. I think that he's, again, center's loaded. We've talked about it, but he's less expensive than he's been. I think coming off the, less than stellar game against Dallas. I remember him crushing Miami last year. It's sticking out to me. Like, I don't think he's a guy you'd play in an optimal line, but kind of like your Capela points, I think he comes in real low owned as well.
Yeah, I'm a big Jokic fan. Michael Porter being back ate into him a little bit last game because Porter was awesome.
Sure, that'll happen.
Yeah, he just didn't have to do as much. Like, he had been shooting a lot the last couple of games. And now that they got another offensive weapon back, he doesn't have to shoot a lot every game. Some days other players will just play well.
For sure. But he had, his scores were monster even when Porter was in earlier in the year. So that really doesn't mean much to him, for me, for like DK or DFS wise.
It just mattered last game. It doesn't mean it
For
matters
sure.
tonight.
Exactly. Agreed.
All right, Lakers against Philly. So from a real life perspective, this is probably the best game of the night. From a DFS perspective, there's guys that will do well in this game, but these are two tremendous defensive basketball teams that I don't feel the need to try to hop on anybody here. Specifically, I'm sure there'll be a player or two that will do well here, but I'm not really looking for anybody.
I agree. I mean, the guy that I like most is Joel Embiid. If I were playing anyone, it would be him. I mean, he's making a strong push for MVP. This is a big statement game. Like your point of running like LeBron and Embiid, I think is more than in play here with how LeBron's playing for sure.
Yeah, and if I ran a bunch of lineups, I might get there once. I won't get there in my lineups. I liked him, Bron, a lot against Milwaukee for a lot of these same reasons. But he played really, really well. He was awesome against Cleveland. But that was a weird spot where they played crap early, and he just kind of had to take the game over. So it's a big slate. I'm sure LeBron could be fine. I won't end up with him.
Yeah, for sure. It's actually LeBron had a monster first half against Cleveland. They were up big after the first quarter. Cleveland just fought back, which was kind of the perfect scenario for him.
All right, Milwaukee against Toronto. My Bucks taking on the Raptors right here. Pascal Siakam is considered questionable. If he's out, that is better for Giannis Antetokounmpo because he is one of the guys that, just from a strategic standpoint, matches up with him better than most people in the NBA. If you think this game is close, it's going to be more run and gun potentially than you would have normally anticipated with the Toronto-Milwaukee matchup from years ago. So if you think this game is super competitive, this is an island game for Milwaukee. I do think Giannis Antetokounmpo, depending on how much value we get, could be a very nice play at power forward here.
I agree. I mean, I think he is a nice play at power forward if you can get there. I feel similarly about him and Jokic. I like him slightly more.
The power forward eligibility helps a lot.
Helps a lot. And also, I still think Giannis is higher upside, like regardless of what they've done this year. So on one game, I'll still take Giannis over him.
Yep. Outside of that, a lot of the Toronto guys are priced up because, guys like OG and Powell have had nice performances lately. But now Lowry and Van Vliet are in play. Drew Holiday has played well lately, but he's priced up. So
it's funny you mentioned Giannis. I was going to say, it's funny you mentioned about OG because he just came up as questionable, right when we started our video.
Okay. I know he left the other day with a calf issue for a little bit. He's pricey. Powell is pricey. For me, it's mostly just Giannis in this game.
I agree. I mean, I definitely like the Milwaukee side more than the Toronto side.
Yeah, Toronto guys are expensive. Good. Norman Powell, who was on Daniel's lineup the other night, helped him win a GPP. That's awesome. But I'm not trying to jump to Norman Powell here at 6,100.
I won't do it. So moving on.
Yeah, okay. All right, Boston, San Antonio. Well, I already made the cover this morning. And a guy that I think deserves everybody's attention is going to be Kemba Walker, who he's really, really inexpensive. The minutes thing it's a lot lower now. He's playing well. He's only 6,300. San Antonio is no longer the San Antonio of old. He took the night off the other day. He really got going against Cleveland the other day. Shot out for 41 points in 24 minutes. He had played 29 minutes the game before against Philadelphia. Had played fairly well in that one. It's a good spot for him. I like Kemba more than I normally like Kemba tonight.
I like Kemba a lot. It comes down to the fact of what we talked about, point guards. I'll put it like this. If Sabonis is in, I like Kemba more than Brogdon. If Sabonis is out, Brogdon becomes the priority for me there. Now, playing both is firmly in play, but there's other point guards in play. So I agree. I think Kemba is a rock solid look here in all formats, but like most guys on this slate, not a must.
Yeah, he's going to be, I would assume at this price point, he's going to be very popular.
Yeah, I think he'll get love for sure. Somewhere probably around 30%, which on a big slate like this is pretty popular.
Yeah, so he's got a good opportunity to make my cash lineup roster. We'll see what happens throughout the day. There's other good plays on Boston, but on a monster slate like this, you can't play everybody. So the other day when Murray got ruled out, I mean, Marcus Smart was like a really easy natural pivot for me because I had that guard spot available, and I just ran him in there. Fortunately, Murray wasn't my point guard that day. I had him in the guard spot, so I was able to flip to Marcus Smart. He had been playing really well. He played really well again. I mean, this has got to be one of his better DFS games with 42 points in 26 minutes. I probably won't get to Marcus Smart today with Kemba in, but he had been playing excellent basketball lately. But now they got all their guys around, so it's not for me today.
He was almost as good as Wiggins that night.
Ooh, I think he beat Wiggins.
He did not. Wiggins at 43.
Damn it.
So I'm pretty sure at least. You can check it because I don't want to be wrong here.
Well, no, I'm just curious too. Oh, why am I clicking on Minnesota? This isn't
serious. There we
43. Go. Ah, Christ. Christ on a cracker.
Listen, two guys that are playing well. I agree. I don't think Smart's the guy for me here, though, with Kemba back.
No, I would be more likely to pay Tatum, who is still really affordable at 8,700. So what was weird to me is like Tatum hadn't played in 2 weeks, but Smart was the guy that they were easy on his minutes. Tatum was out there late. I'm not like forcing Tatum into my lineup because you can't play everybody, but he's clearly not on a minutes restriction, especially after playing 31 minutes the other day, and it's 8,700 for a guy who's been routinely, upwards in there. I like the matchup. I just won't be able to get here today.
Yeah, and I think that's ultimately my problem with Kemba is like they got a lot of mouths to feed now. I mean, all their guys are healthy. So that's my big problem and why I don't think I get to anyone from this entire game.
Yeah, I think Kemba's the play for me, but I absolutely understand not using him. And if Sabonis plays or is out and you need to get to Brogdon, point guard spots are at a premium.
Yeah, we're going to get to other spots that I like a lot too. So I'm excited to break this slate down as we continue checking on.
Are we okay just moving past San Antonio? There was nobody on that team I was trying to roster.
Agreed. Let's move on.
All right. As far as Washington against New Orleans goes, I'm assuming Westbrook won't play today, but I haven't heard that yet.
Someone in our Discord posted something about him not playing, but I haven't had a chance to fully read it yet. So I'm assuming he doesn't play either.
Yeah, I have not heard anything about lifting the back-to-back restrictions, so I don't know. Nothing as of right now. I'm just going to assume that he is out.
Same.
I do like Bradley Beal again. I can't play him at 10-2. This isn't yesterday, you know what I mean, where it made more sense because just on the raw points, he made sense. I'm not trying to get to him today.
Definitely not a must. I don't think he's like out of play though. I mean, he deserves that price tag. It's really hard to get there, but he deserves this price tag. And this game, I think, could be a really good game environment. New Orleans, we've talked about, their defense has slipped. Definitely like a couple pieces from the New Orleans side. I mean, listen, Beal's like a luxury play. If I can get there, great, but I'm not like going out of my way to roster him probably.
Yeah, so Beal was in all of my lineups last night, and he wasn't great, but based on the way the slate broke down, it was really easy to pay down to some cheaper guys like Terrence Mann, etc., and play him. Today's different for me. There's so many good plays, it's difficult to get there. Anybody from New Orleans you specifically like? Because I want to like more guys from New Orleans, but they're also a team with a good number of mouths to feed. And, I can make a case for Steven Adams. No way he makes my lineup. I like Zion. I don't love him today. I think he could definitely have a nice day, but I think there are higher upside plays. And I would say Jeremy Grant, I would rather roster than Zion Williamson.
Yeah, it's the same two guys for me always, Zion and Brandon Ingram. And I like both of them here. I think this is a breakout spot for them. They haven't been good especially Ingram, hasn't been good for a while, but I think the upside game's coming. And against the Wizards on a back-to-back, sign me up. I don't think he gets a ton of love at all. People are off him. I like Ingram today. I also like Zion. I think this game's competitive. I think this game has potential to be one of the highest the upside games on the slate.
I liked it more from a 30,000-foot view. I don't imagine I'll play anybody from this game. I would be more worried that if guys like Ingram and Zion played really well, that an undermanned Washington team on the tail end of a back-to-back really falters out later in the game, and it's just not as competitive as I would like it to be. Yeah, now, New Orleans isn't blowing anybody out, so again, I don't overstate that. I think if the New Orleans guys play really, really well today and Russ is out, then this one won't be super competitive later because outside of Bradley Beal, they just have no offensive firepower.
Well, I think it's going to come down to Bradley Beal. So that's why I'm interested in him if I play one or two of those guys. I wouldn't play those two guys without Beal.
Yeah. Yesterday they ran Gill as a starter, and he got a lot of points right away and then did nothing for the rest of the game. So I'm not saying you can't run with him at 3K, but he ain't going to get 8 rebounds every day. He shot 4 times, made one of them. He got that jump ball that they gave him credit for the steal on, a couple assists. I'm not trying to run to him at 3K.
I'm not either. I mean, I see another 3K guy getting a lot of love, Nader for Phoenix. So, I mean, listen, as a pivot off him, I don't hate it. But I'm not dying to get to either of them, to be quite honest.
All right. OKC against Phoenix. No Devin Booker tonight, guys. And you mentioned Nader. So he played 30 minutes the other day against Denver and 19 the game before. Oh, did he not play in the last game? Was he out?
I don't think they played the Raptors in a while. If you're just reading that DK line. What was that date?
All right, they do have 4 days off, it looks like. Or 3 days off.
That was on the 7th. Oh, I thought you were just reading. Didn't see the court. Okay, I got you. You were looking at the dates.
Yep. Okay. I mean, he played a bunch. He's 3K. You're not normally going to love your 3K players.
No, I doubt I get there. I like the better players from this game, though. CP3 and Shy specifically.
Yeah, let's cross off OKC and just talk about the Phoenix guys for a little bit. Chris Paul in the Denver game, again, went to overtime. Played very, very well. He scored a lot lately. He had all that assists and rebounds early in the game, but he wasn't putting the ball in the hoop. And then made a ton of shots toward the end of the game and had himself a monster game. He's definitely in play. No guarantee for overtime, but he didn't need overtime to have a good score. He just allowed him to have a great score.
Yeah, exactly. I like him a lot here. We've talked about other point guards that we like. If I were making one lineup, there's a chance Paul might be in it. I like Phoenix. I think they're affordable. 8 ton.
Yeah, Aiden's a much bigger priority for me than Chris Paul. I like his price point a lot. He's down $400. We talked about him the other day. He didn't play great, but he wasn't terrible either. He rolled into about 40 points. Coming off of a 48 performance against Denver in the earlier one, his rebounding skills have been really much on display. He had the bad game against Washington where they got rolled. He had 6 boards. Outside of that, this guy's averaging about 13, 14 boards per the last 10. He's putting the ball in the basket efficiently. He's throwing in the occasional steal. Block shot and assist. The price point is on point. And also a point for about Oklahoma City. They have not much deterrent within the post. You know what I mean? They're out there running Roby and Muscala.
What Canner did to them the other night.
Yeah, so I do like Ayton quite a bit. What's his projected ownership early on in the
day? His projected ownership is 20%.
Okay.
So he's
a good play for anywhere.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like him a ton tonight. I'll play him. Not worried about him being super chalky. I just like him a lot here. I like CP3. And I see Bridges and Cam Johnson projected for high ownership and just projected well.
Well, I think to note, guys, Crowder's the one who played 45 minutes the other day.
Yeah, which is surprising.
I mean, that's 40 without the overtime, but that's a lot of minutes. So he is the guy that they inserted into the lineup and played monster minutes. Now, it's not a guarantee they run him for 45 minutes again, but I think for me, if you're trying to choose between Cam Johnson and Jay Crowder, I like the guy that played significantly higher number of minutes. And Cam Johnson was, he was solid off the 4,400 price tag, but I would go with Crowder personally. He just played more.
I don't know if I'm buying that. You just care that he played more in one game?
Well, it was the only game without Booker. Insert him in the starting lineup. He played more. It doesn't mean it'll happen today, but based on the one game of evidence, he was the guy who played a lot more minutes.
I mean, Cam Johnson still played 35. Oh, For me, that doesn't really base into my decision. Bridges and Cam Johnson are the two guys projected higher, so I don't know. I think that means something.
Yeah.
Crowder hasn't been done anything like all year except for last game.
Well, look for who's starting
Booker,
then.
I think Booker might have gotten hurt in the first Denver game.
Yep, he did.
So what did Crowder play in that game?
19 minutes. That's why when they inserted him in the starting lineup the other day, look for that. If he's out of the starting lineup, I have zero interest.
For sure.
That's what we talk about with the coach's decision for that day of what he appeals will think will be his best matchup. And if he's not in the starting lineup, what's that?
I was going to say, I couldn't imagine myself getting to any of these guys on this slate.
No, it's a 12-game slate. I would be fine just playing Ayton from Phoenix. And I like Chris Paul, but not as much as you. But point guard's loaded today, so going to have to make some decisions.
It's hard if Sabonis is out. I like Chris Paul a lot, but Brogdon's still the priority for me. And I get like Kemba more than Paul for like $1,300 cheaper. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's not even bringing up Darius Garland or getting to the last game with Steph Curry, for example.
For sure. No doubt about that. So with you 100% on all that. And I guess your point about Crowder, I like it. Takes me off of all of them.
Yeah. I mean, they got a bunch of wing players right here. From the OKC side, I like Shai. You guys know I'm a Shai fan. But point guard's loaded today. I probably won't get here. I think he's a really good young player. I just probably won't be able to play him today because I can't play every point guard.
It is kind of like in close games, like he usually puts up around 50. So that is something to like for sure. He definitely is not a priority for me. I like Jeremy Grant more, for instance. Other guys I like more, but he's in play. Just tough to get to on this slate, as you mentioned.
I would play Chris Paul over Shai today. And I like Shai. I'm a big Shai fan. There's so many good plays today. I just can't picture him being my top priority.
I agree.
All right. Next game up, we got Utah against Dallas. Man, Austin Rivers, have yourself a first half last night. Holy cow, did he really take it to Utah in the first half. Now, they eventually came back and won the game, but Austin Rivers was out there looking like a really good player. The last time he looked like that, I was supposed to wear a dress.
Yeah. Every time he plays, well, I'm sure you'll always think about that. I guess the one point for Utah here is that they did play well in the second half yesterday, specifically the fourth quarter. I kind of expect, and I guess my concern for this game is kind of expect Utah to get up early, don't you?
Utah is a really good team. We've been talking about this a lot over the last week. Like, they are just built to kick butt in the regular season. And even with New York winning that game early last night, it was never a question to me in my mind that they were going to come out and put the hammer down in the third and fourth quarter and win that game relatively easily.
What could they add to be like a championship team? Or are they just like a championship team now potentially, but just haven't gotten there yet, which, I don't know. Like, they do like remind me a little bit of just how their team is of the Pistons from like, when they won titles with like Billups, et cetera, just a lot of really good players.
Got a lot of really good players, and I think Donovan Mitchell is a really good player. I just don't think you can win a championship with Mitchell as your number one. I don't think you're good enough. I like Gobert, but one of your max players can't play offense, and I like all their pieces around him: Clarkson and Conley and Bogdanovich, and Joe Ingles is a feisty little guy that I like on my team. I just don't think they have what it takes to beat a LeBron James Lakers team that's currently constructed.
I agree. And even if it weren't LeBron, I don't think that like they would be able to get, like if they made, I don't know. I wonder what they could add to get there, but maybe they couldn't add anything. And like we always talk about, not every team can win a title.
What's projection ownership on Luka tonight, coming off a monster of a game against Denver the other day?
10%.
Okay. I think it's intriguing when you get Luka at lower ownership in GPPs. I'm not specifically going out of my way to get him here just because he balled the other day. I like the price point. I'm starting to worry about a lot of teams when they play in Utah because Utah is rolling on people a lot.
Doesn't that it worries me about them like potentially getting a big here. Is Dallas and you have, Well, yeah, exactly.
I don't know. So again, I get it with Luka. I'm just not prioritizing him today.
Well, I guess one thing, and I was going to ask about the back-to-backs. Phoenix plays tomorrow, and I could see them rolling here against Oklahoma City. I don't think that's like the likeliest outcome, but they play a big game tomorrow, and Golden State's the only other team that plays tomorrow. So something to know.
Yeah, and that's why they maybe are not your top priorities. And we've been talking about this all season on back-to-back. If you believe that OKC and Phoenix is super competitive, then don't worry about Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton today. But however, if you're in a coin flip situation with a guy who doesn't play tomorrow and a guy who plays tomorrow, and you're truly on the fence, take the guy who doesn't play tomorrow every single time.
Amen.
But that's got to be a coin flip. Like if you love Steph today and you think this game is high scoring and competitive, then don't worry about the back-to-back tomorrow. But that's not necessarily the case because Minnesota's trash and they can get rolled up on anybody. So that's why Steph probably doesn't make my final lineup.
Yeah, I liked this game the last time more. It was a smaller slate. I liked it a lot. It ended up being nice. Beasley was really good. He got his. Curry was really good. Wiggins was really good. I think all these guys are in play for me here. You know, if D'Angelo Russell is out, I'm not sure I get to any of them. I'm more likely to get to like Beasley, Wiggins because of their price tags than Curry, especially knowing the back-to-back. I don't know, man. Like this game has a high ceiling, but I don't know if any of these guys are priorities, and I doubt they're priorities for you.
No, I'm kind of thinking about how funny it was when I played Marcus Smart the other day that he was right in the middle of Beasley and Wiggins, but they're all within 2 points of each other because those were all the guys that you could pivot off of DeJounte Murray to play.
They were all good.
And they're all within 1.75 of each other, which is a rarity that something like that works out.
For sure. And I'll say this, like Culver being out doesn't hurt the Minnesota side. Like he takes minutes at least. So my guy Jalen McDaniels got good run, finally played well. I could see getting to like the cheaper Minnesota guys.
And a lot of that stuff gets thrown out if D'Angelo Russell plays, which I kind of hope he does, so I don't have to worry about it nearly as much.
Yeah, I get that. For sure.
Rubio's another one. Like I'm not trying to get to Ricky Rubio right here, but he's been playing good minutes now. You know, he played 28 against New Orleans. He played 26 against Golden State and didn't have to play at the end. He had 11 assists, shot 1 of 8, so it's encouraging to see him shoot more. I think he's in play, but there's no way I could ever prioritize him today.
Same. I mean, just thinking at like at their price points too, and this is gonna happen with all these secondary Golden State guys like Draymond Green, Oubre. I like Bagley more than I like those guys, and it's not like Bagley's a lock to make my lineup.
Yeah, Oubre played well early. Didn't he lead that game for a little bit?
I don't know if he left it, but I don't know. He played real well at halftime, and I was like, shit, like the only guy I didn't use played really well. And I don't know, man. I think that Wiggins is in play, but that's like his upside, 43. And on this slate, not really feeling it. I mean, he had 3 blocks and 3 steals, and he had 43. Like, he does not get any assists.
If you had told me at the start of the year, though, that over an 8-game stretch, Andrew Wiggins would have 3 blocks or more and half of them, I never would have believed you in a million years. So I won't get here either, but I do, only because we've both been so hard on him for good reasons. But he really seems to have turned the corner as an NBA player. He's playing a lot of defense this year. He's really buying into the team culture, so good for him.
For sure. Another guy, and I mentioned him last night for Minnesota, kind of in that price tier, is Naz Reid. So he got into foul trouble and lost blowout run. You know, he looks like he's being much more aggressive on the offensive end. He shot 6 threes. Again, not a priority play at all, but someone I'm looking at, along with Jared Vanderbilt, who, you know, I like the Minnesota side more than the Golden State side here by a good amount.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to get to Naz Reid today because of the center eligibility, which is where I think Vanderbilt, because of the power forward eligibility, becomes a much easier play.
For sure. Also cheaper. Definitely a solid look here. I mean, not a must, again, like almost no one is, but fine with Vanderbilt here.
All right. And also, like, you may not know about D'Lo, and if you have to wait out that information, that changes the Minnesota roster construction a ton. And I think it's really worth noting that if he's a game-time decision today, this is the only game at the end. So it's going to be difficult to look at this last game if you don't get good information throughout the day.
I think that if you want to take a shot and like stack it, that's the best way to do it. And know that if D'Lo plays, you'll probably have to play D'Lo.
Yeah, and it's hard to stack on a 12-game slate.
For sure. No doubt about that, man.
All right, so let's just run through each position real quickly just to summarize. When it comes to the point guards today, it's a loaded position, which is not uncommon for a 12-game slate. There's going to be a lot of guys that are going to be, I like him, but I can't play him. Steph Curry. I think Trae Young falls into that group for me. I like Trae Young, but I don't think I like him enough to pay $9,200 for him today. I think Malcolm Brogdon, we both agree that if Sabonis is out, becomes, everything short of the word must. He ends up right there.
Agreed. Okay. After going through every game, if Sabonis is out, I will play Brogdon at point guard.
Yeah, I like Brogdon a lot, specifically if Domantas Sabonis is out. Other guys we even touch on Jamal Murray. I could see him having a nice game. No way he makes a final roster. Colin Sexton, but you would play him at shooting guard.
Kemba.
And also, look, I'm not trying to pick on Boston, but we liked Murray the other day a lot for a reason. That game got postponed. And Boston's a harder matchup, but I do think that creates a spot for him where he's very low owned today.
I agree. It's hard to use anyone on San Antonio right now, but he's affordable and he's the top play. So I agree. I was just thinking that.
Especially if you run Kemba, you're in a GPP, you're thinking this game might be close and competitive. Yeah. I could see that.
I could see that too, man.
Again, Cole Anthony. I like him a lot today. There's a lot of slates where Cole Anthony would be a play for me at point guard. Not today, though.
No, it's just hard to get to basically everyone.
I think over all these guys, though, if I'm trying to punt play at point guard, I'm feeling Darius Garland today. Again, the game log watchers won't get here because he hasn't played well in a while. But he lost a lot of time due to injury. They eased him back in. I think the encouraging thing is seeing him play 26 minutes the other day. Now he had a day off. So 26 could very easily turn into 30. And if he plays 30 minutes.
Yeah, island game. I like Garland a lot here. Already talked about how I like this game a little bit. The more I think about it, the more I like Garland and Grant. So
yeah,
I'm going to start my lineups I like Brogdon a lot too. It's really hard to say with Sabonis with not knowing Sabonis.
Yeah, we're not going to line up build too much, but just recap these positions. just guys, go back to pre-injury. In the end of December, Darius Garland produced a 30-point game, which would be the equivalent of about a 7x. A 37-point game, which would be, almost 9xing. A bad game against Philly, where he didn't have to play in the second half as they rolled, still at 27 points. 53 against Detroit last time. Now, he's not going to play 44 minutes. I believe this was an overtime game, right?
Must have been if he played 44 minutes.
Okay. But he had 53 points in the same spot. That's an 11x, 12x type of situation. I don't expect him to get there today, but I think 30 DK points is very plausible.
Ooh, man, you are getting me excited over here. I love the Garland play, all about it.
Yeah, he's cheap, man. Who do you want to punt with? Do you want to punt with Darius Garland at 4,600, or do you want to play Abdul Nader?
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
And obviously Garland, who legit has, he's had 50 this year. Nader just played 30 minutes and had 14 DK points. He's projected for high ownership. I can't imagine a lot of people want to click that name.
No, I don't. Plus, like you said, they have Crowder, they have Cam Johnson, they have Mikal Bridges, they have Chris Paul. They have Cameron Payne coming off the bench. They have other players right there. So for me, that's the point guard position. Those are the main focuses to start the day. Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, Trae Young, you guys are all ballers. You just can't play everybody on a 12-game slate. Moving over to the shooting guard position, I think it's a lot of the same thing. You like Beal more than I do. I probably won't get there. James Harden. It seems like he should be in play at 10K against Atlanta, but I feel like he's trying to protect his rep right now more than anything. He's just not aggressively shooting the ball. 10 shots, 9 shots, 14 shots. He's not shooting the ball a ton. The assist numbers have been there, but until I see him play more aggressively and dominant on the offensive end, he just may not be the guy in Houston who shoots it 30 times a game.
Agreed. I think you're going to get those spots, and if you play a ton of lineups, I get it, but he's definitely not a guy I'm prioritizing. For sure.
Yeah, if Kyrie was out tonight, I'll change my tune. But as it currently constructs, he isn't.
Agreed.
All right. And then again, Wiggins and Beasley, Sexton, these are all guys that are in play, but not immediate priorities.
Agreed.
All right. Other shooting guards.
One guy that we didn't mention that, kind of like your Cole Anthony call is Evan Fournier against Sacramento. I mean, we like picking on Sacramento. Shooting guard's weaker. He's been good. He's 6,400.
That's a little more than I want to spend on him, but I do like picking on Sacramento.
And he's been good recently. So I agree with you. I won't get here, but it's not like shooting guard is loaded with studs, and it's a good spot for him.
It is a really good spot for him. And also, we mentioned this with Aaron Gordon the other day. Instead of just having Cole Anthony run the show, we kind of knew once Fournier came back that he would play a little bit of the point guard and distributor role. Well, he's got 7 assists per game over the last 3. Gordon's getting a bunch of it, and him and Anthony, they're all splitting duties. Now, if Michael Carter-Williams comes back tonight, that takes me off of all these guys just the littlest bit.
I agree. And even with it, almost all 3 of them, well, Vucevic is kind of on his own, but Gordon, Fournier, and Cole Anthony kind of all I think they're all in play, but I'm not sure I get to any of them. Gordon would be the guy I most likely get to.
3. Shooting guard is not the strongest of positions.
No.
Yeah, I don't. This is one where more decisions will need to be made throughout the day. Who's Jeremy? Oh, I think that's a spot you could ink in Jeremy Lamb, though. I don't mind going Brogdon Lamb is my 1-2 guys if Sabonis is out.
Yeah, and I will say this, though, and you'll agree with this even though you won't play him. I was already thinking I liked Beal more than those top point guards. The shooting guard weakness makes me like him more.
Yeah, I get that. He's not for me today.
I get that. I think Lamb makes a lot of sense. Even Sexton looks better after looking at how weak shooting guard is.
Good.
Yeah, so definitely a weak position for sure.
I want to give big ups to DraftKings for finally getting this right and labeling Kevin Durant as a small forward, power forward, as opposed to power forward center. So thank you for actually doing it the right way, DraftKings. I could see playing Kevin Durant tonight because he should be able to eat against Atlanta. It's just hard to make him an immediate priority because of the 3-headed monster right there. He's also not been elitely aggressive all the time.
Agreed. I mean, I'm not going to play any of these Brooklyn guys.
What's projected ownership on Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant is projected to be 2% owned.
Well, I do like that, though. And especially if you're going with a mini game stack in this game.
Do you like that more than you like LeBron at 3% owned?
I like Kevin Durant more than LeBron tonight, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think the Brooklyn-Atlanta game, and it's no guarantee it happens this way, but it's elite level upside if 3-pointers are falling. I mean, it's got a big-ass total for a reason, right? 240, 239. There's not a lot of defense in this game. And if shots are falling early, this is one of those games where it may look like an all-star game.
That's true.
So it won't be great for the steals and the blocks, but Kevin Durant could score 40 real-life points tonight, and you'll watch the game and be like, I didn't even notice he was doing anything.
That's true.
So Grant is a guy, we've gushed over him all slate. No reason to reiterate how much we like him. Aaron Gordon at the small forward position is definitely a guy in play. We touched on Wiggins and Hunter. Jeremy Lamb once again right there. If Sabonis is out and only. We touched on the Phoenix guys as well.
That's the other reason I like Jeremy Grant so much. Forward positions are always a lot weaker.
Yeah, agreed.
Point guard and center are loaded today. The other positions are fine, but nothing special.
Pretty standard, right?
Yep.
Don't fall for the Sadiq Bey thing again tonight. Okay.
Doesn't seem like there's a lot of cheap value. I guess that's where Abdel Nader comes.
Yeah. Guys, the day's likely to change, right? I'm sure by the end of the day, better value will come out and Nader won't even be a thing.
For sure.
All right, Durant or Giannis tonight? I'm assuming your team Giannis.
I'm Giannis, but probably neither.
Okay. I like Giannis. I don't. He's not an immediate priority for me, though. However, that could all change. If we start getting crush spots below 4K, then I think guys like Giannis and the other studs, they become a lot easier to roster.
For sure. No doubt about that.
Giannis could end up being a priority for me today. Not a priority, but like a solid just filler piece. Because I think Toronto will play this game competitively. And anytime you give me Giannis on an island game against a pretty good team, even though Toronto's record doesn't say good, we know that they're a decent basketball team. And if Siakam is out, that takes away the body that they have to defend him.
Agreed.
So Grant, again, we mentioned it. Let's see who else is down here. Hunter.
For
Bagley.
me, I'm looking hard at that Washington New Orleans game. Like Ingram, Zion, and Beal. I like them. I like Bagley a lot too. We talked about it.
You mentioned Vanderbilt. The Phoenix guys, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and also from Cleveland. Got into quick foul trouble last game, then didn't pick up another one. He picked up 2 right away. Your boy Torian Prince. I think he's a solid play today at 4,500.
If Nance is out, I like him more.
Yeah, I mean, he played about the same number of minutes with Nance in, though, the other games.
Yeah, still like him more with Nance out, but true.
Yeah, I'm not dying to get, but if you're looking for a pay down spot at the forward positions,
there aren't a lot of like cheap plays I'm excited about playing either, except for Garland. So I get that for sure.
and I'm going to make a bold call here that you're going to get a Reggie Perry blow up game one of these days. Not that he's great, but DeAndre Jordan's terrible. And one of these days, he's just going to have like his best game as a pro. And he's going to play extended minutes. Now, he's not a monster DFS player, but he's played double-digit minutes in a bunch of games in a row. And he doesn't have any great DFS games, but they've all been in the double digits. Like one of these days, he'll throw in a couple blocks and steals, get a couple of easy putbacks that will follow him, and he'll drop like a 25, 26-point game. So like if I was looking to get super lucky in a deeper tournament tonight, this is somebody that I might just throw out a few times and just cross my fingers and hope.
I mean, I get that because what I was just about to ask you, and not that this guy, Reggie Perry's the answer, but if you're looking for like cheap value under 4K, where are you going? And that's always looking for cheap value, especially when you want to stud up. Like, where are you going?
It doesn't really exist today yet. And I think that's something that we'll have to address later in the day because as things stand right now, we don't have a plethora of cheap value, which might be a great day to attack the mid-tier. I know you love the mid-tier and I like it. And ideally, we would love to go there more. But the way the modern NBA works, you almost get stuck using stars and scrubs on a daily basis.
Which will probably happen again today.
Probably. It is a day, right?
Yeah, it is a day. Good point.
So center's got great plays. You know, we've touched on Jokic and Embiid and guys that we like, but we'll never get to. I like Vuce a little bit more than you do. We both love the idea of Capela and GPPs. We both make great cases for Drummond. It's just hard to prioritize him in this situation.
It's hard to prioritize basically anyone. So 100% with you.
Yeah, and we both like 8 and a ton.
Yep.
And then I don't have anybody else I'm dying to get to down here.
Same. Muscala is a guy I was looking at if Horford's out.
Yeah, Horford is still questionable. Muscala got hot the other day, hit 6 3-pointers. I probably won't chase it here because I don't want to use a center spot on him.
Same. Just the point that value is hard to find on this slate.
Yeah. And as great as he was last game, there's a whole bunch of blah in here, even with Al Horford out.
Oh, he sucks. No doubt about that.
I mean, he is the definition of 3-pointers only.
I will say, like, after just looking at this slate, guy like Capela, I think he is under like 3% owned. It's just hard to get to basically everyone.
The other guy that I didn't really mention, but Cody Zeller has gone from 11 to 15 to 18 minutes. After missing a month, he is their better center option than Bismack Biyombo, and they definitely like him more than they like Bismack. Now, he'll probably come off the bench again today, as he has been. But don't be surprised if today's the day to get him back into the starting lineup. He's played an extra 4 and then 3 minutes, so I think you're likely to see him up into the low 20s today. He's been solid the last 2 games. Big problem here, he's only center eligible.
Big problem, but I like that call for value on a slate that's starting for some.
I'll mention Perry, guys, but That's a ballsy call. Looney started last game as they wanted to switch things up a little bit, but like I don't know, you're still using a center spot on him. He still only played 19 minutes, and it's Kevon Looney.
Yeah, exactly. Reminds me a lot of Mike Muscala, just a little bit cheaper.
Like Muscala can at least get hot from 3-point range, right?
Yeah, honestly, I guess I'd play Jordan Bell over any of them.
Or I would try to get super lucky with Jackson Hayes because at least there's like real upside there.
True.
Um, that about does it, guys. I know this is a longer one, but we had a lot of games to talk through.
Ton of games to talk through. Yeah, that cheap value just doesn't exist as of now. All it takes is one guy to be out, though.
Yeah, you'll get it. It's just not there yet.
True.
All right, guys, good luck today. We will have a second video in a couple hours just to kind of recap this stuff.
Thanks, guys.